Hello, helldivers, and welcome back. I'm here with my subordinate Shazzy to go and clear up some misconceptions from my previous video.
The hour of our next victory rapidly
Shit.
approaches. Let us cleanse the galaxy of alien scum.
Okay, would you like to relay the first comment, Shazzy?
I will gladly. Okay, so the first comment comes from Sleepy Sam 811. Messaged the day ago. He's currently in the Southport ends of London. I will not specify where. But breaking. Man surprised that people would rather have fun with new updates than feel forced to do some ultimately pointless objective. What is your thoughts on this, Abe?
Well, I think that's quite interesting because I think that all it really comes down to when it's playing this game is if you want to play on the automaton front, the terminus front, or the Illuminate front. And in reality, as you could see from the previous video, there were at least 40,000 people diving in this sector here, the Tarnis sector. And it's clear that all those people wanted to dive automatons, you know? And the only difference between diving Classer and Yed Pryor would be that, you know, Yed Pryor was by far the better option to, you know, reduce the liberation rate or increase the liberation rate of Classer. So, you know, it's...
And also, if you were doing it for fun, it would have been easier to do it on one with a higher liberation rate.
Yeah. If you were to, you know, fight the planet with a faster liberation rate, it would be far better for the community. And in reality, there's really no difference. The only sort of difference between these two planets is whether or not they had megacities. And I doubt that at least, you know, 20,000, 30,000 people wanted to dive just the megacity on this planet. It just, you know, doesn't make any logical sense. Okay, would you like to go to the next comment, Shaz?
Now, this comment comes from, I'm not going to say that, because that's probably some Arab name that is probably going to give me some sort of, like, Uriel in my room. But, oh, guys, look, Crydiver, he doesn't know that Classer has new mission type. He needs to touch grass. He's thinking that Helldivers is real life. Your thoughts and comments, eh?
Well, if this guy had played the game in the last, like, 2 days, he would have realised that the commando missions are now on this planet over here. You know, point in case. You know, you can see in the video, actually, I'll have a clip. The commando missions aren't even on there, mate. Like, honestly.
Alright.
Okay, next comment, Shaz.
Okay. I will say, this next comment has been debunked by my go, Harold Breadstuff 2699, but we will comment on it anyway. After Michael Taco said that, lol, just checking right now, Yet Pryor is taken, and yet Class is still contested. So that shows how much you know. Our GOAT, Harold, came up and defended and said, it took over 24 hours before they moved. And it was because the minority, 10% on Yed Prime, was able to take 20% of the planet, while the 40% on Classer was still at a standstill at 10%. Because most players attack with the majorities, ignoring cutting the supply lines and resistance of planets. If the goal was to conquer the map, we would do better with only 10% of the player base who understood the game mechanics. But I guess you never looked up before Yed Prime was taken, just commented on something you know nothing about, proving you are part of the idiotic player base. And Michael Taco, not accepting this defeat, replied again, saying, no, there was no supply lines, so a Gambit wouldn't have taken both planets. And like I said in the other reply, I dive where I want to have fun, not with the MO or mob is. And even if the mob just moved in unison to effect, Joel would have just stepped in and modified resistance levels, or add a supply line that previously didn't exist to stop players from actual gains. And then, oh go, Harold, thank you. You came in, debunked him again to shut him up, and he said, Thank you for proving you do not know the game. After we took the Ed prior, the resistance on Classer went from +2 to -0.59, meaning we would take the planet even if no one was diving there. If they had 3+ connecting planets, they get supply support. If we cut off alone, they lose it all. You are correct, Joel. Sabotage us. Oh, he made a mistake. He meant to say, you're correct. Joel can sabotage us when we play smart. That made many players stop fighting smart because we get punished for it. But you're ignorant to the game mechanics. And then no replies since then. This was said a day ago. I'm guessing Michael Taco has admitted defeat.
Okay, thank you for reading out that long string. Okay, would you like to move on to the next section of comments, Chaz?
This next side, Nate Strum 448 said, "Okay, so you're also stupid then for not defending Fury. Legit, when you go to the table, and if there's been an invasion somewhere, the democracy officer himself says that you must rally to its defense. There's an icon of a shield right over the planet, meaning that it's under attack and about to be taken. Making that the ultimate objective overall. Seems you ignored that while only one planet away to complain about an area on the other side of the sector, while your destroyer is still at Cloapessa 4. What are your comments on this, Abe?"
Well, I think it's pretty clear that, well, obviously before you put that comment, you clearly hadn't watched the video, because I clearly state that the whole point of them, the dev team, even attacking Fury, was to make the community realise, oh shit, it's so much more efficient to, you know, do a Gambit and take Cloapessa, which has an obscenely lower liberation rate, as well as the fact that, I can't see it now, obviously, but I believe that Fury had a current, like, you know, it was currently getting invaded with an invasion level 30, I believe. I can check, I might be wrong. Invasion level 30.
It was 35.
35. Invasion level 35. On Fury, which is a lava planet. And not only that, but it also has the incineration core on it. I believe that the only sort of thing that can sort of excuse you here is you like it up the ass. Okay, I think that's about it, you know, like the dev team kind of sort of made it as opportunist to, you know, take the planet, and it looks far more easier and efficient to take Cloapessa. But in the end, some divers do like, you know, the difficulty when it comes down to it, and I can't complain about that, you know. But it didn't make sense that there were so many people trying to, you know, liberate such a harder thing. Okay, would you like to move on to the next comment, Shaz?
Next, we have Spooky5338 saying this a day ago. He's on the south ends of Scam, by the way. And he says, "Bro, the entire war is scripted. It doesn't matter what you do if they are just arbitrarily making the factions move and take territory." Now, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that it relies a lot down to the previous problems with the Xbox divers joining, and all of the territories all becoming excessively aggressive all at once and claiming a lot of Super Earth territory. And ever since then, a lot of the dev team, I believe, have been placing strategic opportunities in places in which would highly benefit a Gambit. For example, Fury and Cloapessa. Just to allow the community to have that extra, like, time between MOs to, you know, take back areas and land. But the community is just, like, numb, and they see the defend icon, and we need to defend here! And it just, like, in the end, we sort of go nowhere in, you know, reclaiming Super Earth land. And that's just, in reality, it's just a bit disappointing that, you know, it's not just necessarily the community's fault. It's a lot of the dev teams that they've not had the opportunity or chance to communicate with the player base to, you know, tell them that this is a possible opportunity and it's must to go here, etc. So it doesn't really lie with either, side's fault. Shaz, would you like to continue to, I believe, our final comment for today?
Now, I would love to go to the last comment. However, we are going to give a few moments to the other comments who we will not address in this video. However, we address through replies. They all speak negatively about what has been said by my commanding officer, Mr. Pengler here. But to end off on a better note, we're going to talk about this guy who also feels our pain. He says, "Nah, I feel you. I'm a part of the 1% that's fighting over the squids, and we collectively barely had 10,000 on that front, and we can't liberate a single planet. It's frustrating." Now, if we would like to go over to Mog, my commanding officer, Mr. Pengler, would like to explain more in detail.
Well, as you can see, the major order is still not over, and as I cannot display now, the dev team have clearly realised that the community cannot take another liberation into their own hands, and has decided to strategically take Valmox from us, which means that we do not have direct access to Mog anymore. And I believe that this is the case because after the automaton major order was completed, most divers instantly started diving on Mog, although it had yet again a 2% resistance rating over Adhura's 0.76 liberation rate. And thank you for the correction there, Shazzy. As you can see, that 600 players are still on Mog from yesterday, before Valmox was taken. That sort of just reinstates that. I can't give you the exact numbers because I can't see them anymore, but I am fairly certain that at least 10,000 divers were on Mog yesterday before I went to bed, and only about 2,000, 3,000 players were on Adhura. So, we really learnt nothing here. And it really sucks that the dev team have to get involved, take a planet away from us to allow us to, see reason and, liberate the planets in, sort of the correct order, which really does suck.
Every mission brings us one step closer to the full democratization
Thank you again
of the known
for
universe.
being part of the Helldivers news department. We will get in touch with you shortly again. But thank you for your opinion. I'm getting another call from another super destroyer where I am needed. So thank you again, Mr. Pengler. I would like to have a departing hug before I leave.
The hour of our next victory rapidly approaches.
Now, thank you very much, and I will be leaving to the next super destroyer to get news from another person's opinion. But thank you again. May Super Earth protect you.
Thank you. It was nice having you on tonight, Shazzy. Alright, just before I finish this up here, I'd just like to say, guys, that I'd like to give a big thanks to all of the people who, somewhat saw reason and wanted to defend my opinion there. It's really not needed, guys, but I do appreciate it. I do see that, the majority of people do see eye to eye with me, due to the fact that out of the 900 views that the video so far has, only about 50 people were willing to go and negatively talk about it, which is really such an insignificant amount. It's about only 10% of people. So guys, I wish you luck on your dive. Think strategically, think well, and may liberty guide you.